Yo! Indeed. Yes. So this was this is one I had talked about previously. This is one that I had forgotten that I was interested in watching until after we did our initial thoughts, and then went, "Oh yeah, I was planning on watching that." So I didn't even have a chance to really talk about this at the initial final thoughts about it, or initial thoughts. So oh, there you go. I lost you. Some technical difficulties there. Ah, that's not good. So shall we try again? Uh oh. Oh, it looks really weird on there. Okay, never mind. It looked weird for like half a second, and now it's gone again. Saying the stream will begin shortly again. Are we all better now?
Okay. Yes, my audio's here now.
Okay, cool.
Jeez, and the panel's gone, so when I go back, it should be. Hello. So,
Gotta love technical difficulties.
yes. So, yes, you hadn't talked about this one in a previous episode.
I guess I'll start. Yeah, okay, because I went on for a little while before I realized he was gone. So I was like, oh wait, he's not responding to anything. I'm guessing he's gone. Um, Yes, so I did not talk about this previously, just because I did not remember before we did our initial thoughts that I had wanted to watch this one. So I kind of want to just kind of go briefly through just what I would normally have done for initial thoughts, just to at least, you know. So this one's done by Bandai Namco Pictures,
Okay, interesting.
which is something we have seen quite a few things for. Me recently, most notably, was Wistaria, and Arumakun is also another one I really enjoy from them. But they have quite a few. It's Bandai. They have tons of stuff. Um, so they're pretty good. And so, going over the synopsis they have for this one. Yuke, a red mage, angrily declares that he's leaving Thunderpike, the A-rank party that he's been with for 5 years, because he's fed up with being insulted and ridiculed by the other members. While searching for a new party, he runs into his former students, Mirana, Silk, and Rain, and decide to join their party, Clover. Encouraged by their admiration for him as their teacher, Yuke leads them in completing several quests that show off his own extraordinary magic and skills while bringing out the girls' abilities to their fullest. Then, through an adventure broadcast by an artifact known as Camelot, Clover becomes well known through society. The party's dream is to conquer Achromatic Darkness, the most challenging dungeon of all. But as they take on other dungeons in hopes of eventually achieving that goal, they gradually become entangled in a chaos that threatens the whole world. So this anime
Interesting.
is okay. It's not amazing by
Okay.
any stretch of the means,
Okay.
but it's not bad. Um, for a fantasy anime that specifically kind of gears towards like the beginning stereotype that we've been now seeing over the last, I don't know, couple of years now, at least I think, of somebody in like the quote unquote heroes party gets kicked out because they seem like they're underperforming, but in reality they're not. They're actually like super powerful, or they're just not being utilized, or they're not being appreciated, or this, that, and the other thing. Um, so in regards to that, this one is it's decent. It's not amazing by any stretch of the means, but it's not the worst I've ever seen either. Um, I do enjoy the tactics, the quote unquote tacticianness of it, I guess,
Hmm.
because he's a red mage, which he's mainly dealing with debuffs. Like he does like blindness and paralyze, and he buffs his party members.
Okay.
So he's very tactical in that regards, and how he uses his ability, which is the reason why his former party didn't think much of him, because he's not the fighter, he's not the forefront, he's not the tank, he's not the damage dealer, but he helps make everyone else's job easier.
Yeah.
And
Support.
his knowledge that he has, yeah, he's a support, but he's amazing support. He's like, God, if I had one who's in a dungeon type situation, I would want him on my party, just because I'm like, you're knowledgeable and you help everything just be that much easier. I mean, come on, you know, you want that. So the action's pretty decent. The fights are not anything flashy per se. There is a few times he's had spells that have been kind of flashy, but for the most part, it's mostly just buffs, and he lets his party members kind of take the forefront as far as that goes.
Okay.
Of course, all of his party members have to be women. They're all female, so it is kind of like a harem
Okay.
situation kind of thing going on there. But he tries to keep that, because he feels himself as the teacher of them, that he keeps that sort of thought process for the most part to a minimum.
Okay.
They do kind of crush on him a bit, because they do see him as the sensei and teacher and all that sort of thing. Um, and they did make him the leader, which honestly, given his knowledge and everything with him, it makes sense.
Hmm.
You'd want the most knowledgeable person and the most tactical person, calling the shots and all that stuff. Uh, hey,
I
he's back.
I have no idea what's happening.
Fair. Okay.
It's like everything else is working, and then this will just disconnect. Uh,
Shall we try again?
yeah, like everything's still connected and working. Um, hey, ping.
He's not wrong.
um, yes, so they chose him as leader because he's basically the best fit for it.
Yeah, he's the best fit. And honestly, you want to have the person who's most knowledgeable to be the leader of the group, kind of thing. Um, Beyond that, I mean, it's just basic dungeon storytelling kind of situation, going from dungeon to dungeon, um, and just learning about the ins and outs of this world, essentially. And it's interesting because there are like things that they add into it, things that are like not beyond they add in lore as they go through different levels, and the dungeons, kind of like the same way in soul leveling, the dungeons are unique onto themselves. Like they are very much, at one point they walk into a level of a dungeon and it's literally a whole city.
Okay, so kind of what I was predicting is already happening,
I
where
mean,
it's like
kind of,
dungeons are
yeah.
not all caves now. Like dungeons
No.
are evolving to be
Yeah,
different. Like
so I
okay,
mean, they walk into an area and it's like a whole city. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's kind of a cave, but like the cave they're in right now, I think is like more of like an underground, like river, almost like a swampy kind of area. So I mean, it's different. So I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, a lot of things going on, and like I said, each time there's like different levels and different like ways that creatures and some like they've even had to retreat. They've even had to like like, okay, we can't. There's no way we can take this. We need to go back. Which
okay,
that's to me is like, when's the last time you've heard of like in a fantasy dungeon type situation where the keep people are like, oh, we need to leave, like, and they
yeah,
actually like retreat. They don't just try to like, no, we can do this, we can fight through this, we can manage, and it's like, no, 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 this is beyond your range that you can deal with, so you need to go. So
yeah.
I mean I like it. Um, the only thing I guess the only big complaint I have, and it's a minor annoyance to me, is that every time, every single time they go into a dungeon, he always says, "Let's have fun, but be safe," and snaps his fingers. And I'm like, is this for like, little kids? Is this what this is? It feels like you're like being like GI Joe kind of situation going on
Ah,
here, and I'm just like, I cringe heavily every time he says it. I'm like, you would be fine if that was not part of it. And maybe it's just part of me. Maybe it's just a thing I just am like, I'm like, no. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, why? Why does he insist on saying that every single time they go into a dungeon? I don't get it.
it's like he's trying to get a catchphrase,
Yeah,
and
exactly,
it's like
exactly.
it's like stop saying fetch. Fetch is never gonna happen.
Yeah, no, no, no. Just don't stop trying to make it work. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. You cannot make it work.
Okay.
You
Uh,
cannot.
yeah, that's that's interesting. That he's he has his own catchphrase kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess out of like as a fantasy anime buff, would you recommend this show like to other fantasy people or other just animes that are watching them?
Um, like if I had to like rank it or and say like out of 10 what I would give it, it would probably be like a high six, low seven kind of situation. It's like right in there. I mean, if mid is just kind of meh, it's a little bit above that. I've
Mm,
seen more meh that are just like I could take it or leave it. This one I'm still actively watching, so I'm like, it's pretty decent. It has enough interesting elements in it, and they do tiptoe themselves around like some more like serious type um, themes and such as far as that goes.
mm,
But they just tiptoe around it. They don't ever really delve deep into it. Just when I think we're going in that direction of being like, oh, this is gonna get serious, and it's like, no, no, they pull it back. They're like, oh wait, no, no, we didn't mean to go that serious. We're hold on, no, no, no. And I'm
mm.
like, that's why I keep thinking, I'm like, is this for kids or something? This is why we're like really trying to toe the line here as much as possible while still making it seem interesting at least.
Okay.
So,
Um, what was your favorite part?
um, favorite part for me would have to be when the main character Yuke ends up like he has a real flashy spell that he did at one point, which was
Mm,
really interesting because it was almost like it wasn't it was a damage dealing kind of spell, but it was I think it pulled upon a lot of the um, debuffs that he did a lot of the way too, because like it dealt a lot of damage, but it was like the more damage it dealt was more of like the overtime kind of situation. So it was almost like a poison effect to an extent.
okay.
But like when he shot it out, it was like it had such a long build up time. It almost kind of reminded. It's not as long, but it almost kind of reminded me of the Shangri-La with the knight who was building up
Yeah, the
their
apocalypse.
uh, their attack. Yeah, the apocalypse attack. It almost kind of reminded me of it because he had to have his party members kind of like buy him a little bit of time to get
Mm,
it going. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. And it was flashy. It was fun. It was interesting.
okay.
Um,
Is it?
but yeah, beyond that,
I was like, is it
go ahead.
me or are certain characters starting to have like spirit bomb moves, where it's like, like one character will have to step aside and they're like, let me build up this giant move. I'll need some help. And yep.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so the apocalypse one in Shangri-La was definitely a spirit bomb situation.
Mm,
This one, kind of, but it was more like, hey, I just have to prep this real fast
mm.
and give me like a minute. Where that is the spirit bomb and like the apocalypse movie was like, I need like a couple episodes. You hold off on this until we get this going.
Okay.
You're gonna have to buy me some time.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. It's interesting that like things are starting to like slow. Like there are bit like big build up moves that
Mhm.
I'm starting to notice from the shows that you're watching.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, it's fantasy. That's probably one of the tropes that you see a lot of times with fantasy too. So,
okay. So is this show over or did they kind of leave it open?
no, it's actually continuing.
Ah, okay.
So this one's coming into this season
Okay.
as a continuation. So I think it's 24 episodes. I want to say
Cool, cool, cool.
on this one. Yeah, 24 episodes.
All right.
So I think that might be the reason why I like it to an extent that I do is because even though it feels very similar to a lot of other kind of meh animes,
Mm-hmm.
this one because it has as many episodes as it does, I feel like they're being allowing themselves to take their time and really
Yes.
try to flesh things out as much as they want to.
Okay.
So
Cool, cool, cool. Um. So yeah. So yeah. It sounds like you're gonna be continuing this one, and
oh for sure.
yeah. Cool, cool, cool. That one does sound fun. I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze it into my schedule, but but yeah, it does sound interesting. All right. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Um, what was it? Online
So
show
just as
fan. Hmm?
hold on, just for Major's question
Ah,
there, from
yes.
perspective of constructive criticism, what would make a series more interesting? Um, to me, things that make things more interesting are things that when you have consumed as much media as me and Taco here, you start as I was saying, the premise for this previous one was pretty much the same as any. We've seen countless ones that go, "Hey, I was in a super powered party and I got kicked out or I left because I was either being mistreated or they didn't think I was strong enough and I was holding them back and this, that, and the other thing." When you start seeing tropes like that, what would make things more interesting is if they played with it, if they made their own twist on things. A long time ago, I was told by my creative writing teacher that there is no new ideas. There is ideas with new twists on them. Like you have to take something that already exists, but you make it your own. And so often do I see the same repetition and the same thing happening, and I look for those little interesting bits, those little twists that they do on it, and see, does it work well? Did they implement it well? Did it follow with the storyline, or was it just something shoved in there just to make it seem interesting when it really had no other purpose other than, hey, look, we're different than this other, all these other animes, or you could even add that to like books or movies or whatever, any sort of media actually. To me, it's a matter of what do they do that's new, and what twist do they put on it? What do they do that makes it flow with the story itself? So if this anime, they're setting up lore in it, which is interesting to me, but they don't. Maybe it's because they do have so many episodes in it. They're not putting a lot of it out there, and some of it just goes back to the daily lives of these people, which is fine. But at the same time, it's like I want to know more about the lore. I want to know more about what makes this world that we as viewers are looking at different than every other one that we've looked at.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of like how ReZero, like,
Oh yeah, ReZero. Good lord,
yeah, as
you want to talk
long as
about something different?
yeah, as long as that series was, it just kept feeling like the world kept getting bigger episode by episode.
Well, not only that, but that's a good example of here's a fantasy anime where literally this is set in a fantasy world with fantasy creatures, half human, half beast creatures, people wielding magic, people wielding swords. What makes and then we have a character who is isekai'd into it. What makes it different? Well, what makes it different is the main character, in order to have his ability work, has to die.
Yeah,
Like that's crazy. Not only does he have to die, but he has all the memories of how he died, including how it felt and everything. And I'm just like, and considering how crazy they make his death sometimes, I'm like, oh my god.
yeah,
And then you see in his later characters, he starts like going kind of crazy, and it's like, dude, I get it. Like there are times when I see characters who lose it and go I don't want to do this anymore kind of situation, and I'm like, dude, what have you done? Why are you even But you because you see everything he goes through,
yeah,
and he remembers all of those deaths that he goes through. You're like, I get it. If I was in that situation, realistically, I would probably snap too. I would probably be like, I'm done. I don't want to
yeah.
do this anymore. I don't want to die.
Hmm.
I know I come back, but I still don't want to die. So I mean, to me, that's the interesting part. That is the twist that they put on this genre of isekai fantasy that they had, and I would love to see that behavior in others and it grow even more from where
Hmm.
it's at.
Yeah.
So This one, the I Left My Earring Party, has potential for that because they keep like sprinkling in little bits and pieces of like lore characters and all this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, cool. Can we keep going with that?
Yes.
I would love to see more of that. I would love to see where you go with that. And if they did do that, I think it could be very good. But I think when it comes to media and animes and stuff like that, they're limited by what they can do. They may want to do stuff like that,
Hmm.
but they might not always have the ability and the time and the resources to be able to tell a proper story.
Oh yeah.
So,
Cool, cool, cool. All right. So that is it for I left my A rank party to help my students reach the dungeon depths. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting show. I wish I had more time to like check
mhm.
into it, but yeah. The next show we're gonna be talking about is oh, there we go. The daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world.
So yes, this one is done. I think this is the only one that was continuations in the series was the I Left My A-Ring Party. So everyone else is done at this point.
Okay.
And so I feel like this one is okay. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. If I had to rank it as far as that goes, I might put it like a step down from I Left My A-Ring Party.
Oh, okay.
Um, Only because, and again, this might be a situation of they just didn't have enough as much since they only had 13 episodes, whereas that one has 24. They just kind of speed run through a lot of the stuff that they're doing, and don't really showcase a lot. But to me, it if I were to equate this one to anything, this is like potato chip anime. This is like popcorn anime, where I'm just like, I've had a long day. I'm gonna come in, sit down, and watch an episode. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. It's just it is what it is. I might chuckle a little bit here and there at certain things, um, but beyond that, it just is what it is. Um, because there's nothing amazing about this.
Hmm.
It's just it is what it is. It's a thing. This dude got sent to another world, and kind of like Campfire Cookie in another world, he has access to an online shop. In this shop, he can buy anything, but he has to provide gold and money to kind of exchange to be able to get the purchases he needs. So basically, he set himself up as a merchant, which he thought was the best way to handle things, and it is. So he sells things from our world in this other world, which is very fantasy, and they don't understand a lot of the things, even though they do have magic that can accomplish a lot of these things.
Uh-huh.
Um, but like so he summons from our world cars and backhoes and um, trucks, and he does things like makes I guess I mean I've even seen it on Amazon before too, but like houses that you can like it's not like huge houses or anything, but like
Oh,
you
those
can get
little like
like
what is that?
the piece together kind of like building structure kind of things that you can
Yeah,
get online kind of thing. Yeah, so he
yeah, like a
gets
little ten
that.
thousand dollar kit house.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Um, but he essentially the biggest thing is he's resigned to thinking, okay, this is the world I live in now. I don't really want to. I don't know if there's any way I could go back, but I'm not going to spend all my time concerned by the fact of I need to go back. He's just like, let's just make the best of it of where we're at. Um, and in so doing, essentially, it is just as the title says, the daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world. It's just that every now and then, because of the things he does and the things he tries to sell that he doesn't understand as like is common for us, but is not so common there, he sometimes lands himself in trouble.
Hmm.
He tries to avoid it. He tries to do everything he can. Like he even like when things were starting to get heated at one point in the town he was in, he took everything he had and literally left. But then he left for another town, and in that town, same thing started happening.
It's like the
and
problems.
he's
You go to different places and you have the same problems, and it's like the problem might be you.
yeah. Basically, it's like dude, you're yeah. Um, yes, I would probably say kind of just brain rot anime. It's just it's nothing amazing about it, but it is it's fun. It's fun. It's interesting. Um, he has of the his well, I guess now wife, but it was originally the daughter of a merchant that he was kind of making deals with, who basically goes around with him, and every time he brings out something new, just because a new something different happens, or he has to do something, he has to protect something, or whatever, he'll bring some new item out, and she'll just go all of a sudden, "Can we sell this? Can we actually sell this?" And he's just like, sure, yeah, okay, fine. Um, and rescuing her at one point, he ends up coming across a little girl who had been a slave, who'd been abandoned, and ends up taking her in. And at one point, he has he wants to get her a picture book,
Hmm.
but they don't make picture books because they don't have a printing press. So he ends up getting like stencil work and making to where all you have to do is like you put it on the page and you could just roll the paint over it to make the pictures kind of situation. So he can just make multiples of them if he really wanted to.
Okay.
So he makes pictures books like that, and he originally just made it for her, but all of a sudden his wife comes around and goes, oh, "These are amazing! How do you do it? Can we sell these?" He's just like, "I just made it for her. I don't. All right, yeah, sure, we can sell these. That's fine." Um, and then of course he's cooking, so he gets ingredients from our world, and like apparently there's a spice merchant that has a chokehold on all the spices in this world, and yet he can get them pretty regularly and easily. So he's making all this like delicious, wonderful food, and then all of a sudden again, his wife's like, "Do you have the recipes for this? Can we actually open up a shop and actually sell this?" And he's like, "But won't that?" He's like, "Oh no, it'll be fine." And of course, it wasn't fine, and they got aggravated by the spice merchants, who eventually like he ends up having to hire this tigress lady you see in the picture there as a bodyguard for her, so she doesn't get messed with because of this. And it's just like, ah, yeah. Every time he tries to do just something just kind of regular, it's all of a sudden just like yeah, it blows up. So
That's funny. It's kind of like the whole um like what is it? An intellectual property kind of thing. It's like
yeah,
it's fine if you make
yeah.
one for you, but if you
But when
try
you
to
start trying to,
sell it, then
yeah,
then out come the lawyers and out come the people
yeah,
breaking kneecaps and stuff. So
exactly.
yeah.
But
Uh,
it's fun. It's not, again, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing amazing necessarily about it, but it's fun.
okay. Cool. I guess what is your favorite part in this one?
Um, I don't know if I really necessarily have just like like again, since nothing necessarily like stands out to me in my mind, I couldn't say like there's any one particular part
Okay.
that's been like this is outstanding, amazing.
Hmm.
It's all very kind of mid-range for me at that regards, but it's still enjoyable.
Okay. Cool. And so as far as the story on this one, they
Mm.
they left it at an ending point. Do you think that they would like ever pick it up for another season or something?
I mean, they could. They definitely have. They definitely he's caused problems and only solved some of them.
Hmm.
But the other problems that he's caused are not like pressing.
Hmm.
So it's not like, you couldn't just be like, and they all just kind of just went about their way kind of situation. But if they did want to do another season for it, there's not. It's perfectly fine. They could is what it comes down to.
Okay. Cool. 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 Um, it's like,
Yes, my favorite part is that they aren't counting down. I'm not counting down the minutes to the end. I'm not, because again, when I watch it, it's enjoyable enough to me that when we get to the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, it's over. Oh, okay, cool. I'm not. See, there's a difference. For something like that, I'm like, oh, okay, it's over. I'm not like paying attention to like, oh, how much time do we have left in this, or like solo leveling, which we'll get to, I'm sure, where
yeah.
it's just like, it's over. Oh my god, why? Why did you end it? No.
Yes.
So kind of a difference in that.
There's only been one show that I've watched where, like, halfway through the episode, I was like, "How long is this episode?" Like,
Yeah.
and that only
I've,
happens.
I've, I've had
I,
a few shows like that.
yeah, and it's usually like that. It pops up very rarely, and
Mm-hmm.
in a good way is when they sneak in one of
Mm-hmm.
those double episodes where they're like, "Oh yeah, episode 3 is just an hour long because we did some promotional thing with it." So like, and I'm
Yeah.
like halfway through the episode, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, we're still going. What's going on?"
It's not stopping anytime soon. What the hell? Yeah.
um, and then there's ones where like, so we did a backlog episode on this one show, me and an old colleague, and very quickly we realized that it wasn't going to be one of the greatest shows. It's going to be a very odd show that starts out
Mm.
slow, and I was like, oh no, why did we pick this one? Because with backlog we got to stick through it. So
Yeah.
by the end of the series, it's like I'm not mad that I watched the whole thing.
Mm.
Would I watch it again? No.
No.
Would I tell anybody else about it? No. If I rewound time and decided if I wanted to do it again, would I? Yes, because there are moments in that show that me and him went through together that I kind of don't want to like ruin those moments. So
So, if you weren't didn't have someone else to go through it with, would you still have gone through with it?
no, I would have dropped it like within episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So when you have someone to share your pain with is when
yeah,
you become a little bit better about it.
yeah, trauma bonding.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, um, cool. That is online shopping. Um, hello H4. What? Nice to see you. The next show we'll be talking about is uh, Elf Son by Yasadane Nai, or um, was it Welcome Miss Elf?
Yeah. Wait, that is not. No, that is not the same one.
Okay. I was like, this is another one that I don't think.
That is not the same one.
I was like, this show? Really?
No, that is not the same one. No, not even close.
I was like, you watched this one?
So the one that I watched was not that one.
What is the name of it?
Technical difficulties there. The one I watched is called where is it? Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf.
Uh,
Otherwise, Nihon I Yokoso Elf-san, which I think is another one that I did not. This is another one that I added in after the. Yeah, no. This one, no, not even no, no, no. Not even close. None. I saw that picture. I'm like, wait, wait, that's not the elf I remember. No. Um.
Okay.
So I'll go over because I like I did with the I love the A-Ring party. So the studio behind this one is Zero G,
Hmm.
which has done eh, not a lot. Well, I'd say not a lot, but it's not a lot that I've watched at least.
Hmm.
A few I started watching and dropped because I was indifferent to them, but that's besides the point. This one is actually pretty decent. I like this one. Um, so the storyline behind this one is Miss Elf is intrigued by Japanese culture? Question mark. Working with adult Kitase Kizuhoro, hobby is sleeping. Ever since he was a child, he's had exciting adventures in the mysterious other world he dreams about. One day, while exploring ancient ruins with an elf girl he befriended, he is unfortunately burned by the breath of a magic dragon he encounters. When he awakens from his dream, an elf who shouldn't be in his room is sleeping next to him. So, this is kind of what I was talking about before when I talk about an interesting twist on something. So, this is essentially an isekai.
Okay.
And because he travels to another world, but he travels to it by sleeping. While he is sleeping in our world, he is awake in this world, and actually vice
Wait.
versa.
While he's sleeping.
Huh?
Oh, I'm trying to wrap my head.
Yes,
So
so while he sleeps, so he sleeps in our world. So he's in Japan. He lives in Japan. He sleeps, and then while he's sleeping, he's transported to our world. But he's like essentially a separate body. His consciousness goes into another body, like his own,
okay.
similar to his own, but not quite the same.
Okay. So
So
basically
it's not
he never sleeps. He's either in this world awake or
correct,
in the other world awake.
or he's in the other world.
Okay.
Correct, correct.
Interesting.
So essentially, he never sleeps, which is kind of the really funny thing because everyone always makes the comment of like, "You look so sleepy," and it's like, yeah, because he's probably should be sleeping, but he's not sleeping. Like he is, his body is resting, but he still doesn't seem like he's sleeping because he's always awake in one world or another. And if he dies in the other world, he wakes up in our world. The thing that happened was
Wait.
is he was holding the hand of the elf girl when they both got burned by the dragon. So when he woke up, he transported her from her world back to our world. And then when they came back, it was like he came back as if nothing had happened. Like he came back wholly, nothing burned, nothing damaged. Anytime he ever goes to die, it's almost like a save point where it's like he respawns wholly new without any damage done to him in the area that which he died in.
So
So it's almost a cross between like ReZero, but it's like dreaming situation.
I'm also thinking like Inuyasha,
Maybe, kind of.
or like she'll just hop in the well and be somewhere else.
But see, again, it's not necessarily that it's not his physical form. His body is still in our world. He's just sleeping.
Okay.
So even like when he was growing up, he had this since he was a kid, and his grandparents would say, "Wow, he sleeps an awful lot." Well, yeah, because when he was sleeping, he was in another world.
So it's kind of like the
But
mate.
they could see his body as he was sleeping,
Yeah. So it's kind of like the Matrix, I guess.
kind
Also.
of. Yeah. See what I'm saying? It's a very interesting dynamic and twist on that.
Yeah.
And like he can actually like he can bring food from our world to the other world and vice versa, but that's like to the extent of he's tried bringing other things and nothing really works, or at least what he's tried doesn't work. But he can bring food, and apparently he can bring people.
And is it both ways all the time, or is it?
So it seems like if he dies in that world, he would wake up in our world, But if he's holding on to somebody who also dies in that world, then the effect happens to them as well. And if he, so they come into our world, and then when they go to sleep in our world, they wake up back in their world. But now, essentially, now it's like they have two bodies just like him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But if he dies in our world, he's just done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about it like the, I'm really trying to wrap my head around this. So if you think about it like the Matrix, every time he goes into the Matrix, he can bring things out of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm. Well, when he goes into the Matrix, he can't. So, I mean, if you're talking about it in regards to this anime,
Yeah.
then yeah, that's kind of the same. That's the principle that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of, you know, he goes there. He can bring food and drink and such, but that's about all he can bring. He can't bring a weapon. He can't bring, a camera, any sort of technological thing. Nothing transfers over in that regards.
And that transfers over from the Matrix out to our world, or from our world into the Matrix.
So he can do either way because he got some tea in the other world, essentially in the Matrix world, if you want to think of it that way,
Yeah.
and he brought it back out into our world.
Okay.
As well, he brought this elf from the Matrix back into our world.
Okay. So how does he get stuff into the Matrix? Does he just have to hold it?
So as long as it is like within an arm's reach of him when he falls asleep, so
Uh,
like a lot of times he'll put like bento or some sort of food items like on the nightstand next to him. They will come with him.
okay. Interesting. That's kind of like the whole isekai thing, where they're like, oh, he got isekai, but this other person was too close to him, so they got isekai too.
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
but he had no intention of. He had no idea that was how that would work until all of a sudden he dies from the dragon's breath and wakes up and thinks, "Oh my God, she's dead!" And then all of a sudden he realized, "Oh no, she's sleeping right next to me. What the hell?" But like
Interesting.
she doesn't. She so that's where the like interesting thing starts happening because like she wakes up, she's in our world, but she's still from the other world. So like she only speaks Elf, so she has to learn how to speak Japanese.
Ah,
Like there's no knowledge necessarily that all of a sudden she gains just from being over here. It's
yeah.
everything she has to learn. Like everything is new to her. Vehicles are weird. Buildings are weird. Um, but then the fun thing is that so in the Matrix world, if you want to put it that way, she's she's a mage of sorts,
Oh,
and she contracts with spirits. Well, you see that when you see them over in the other world, but then when you see them in our world, at some point she actually goes, "Wait, I can see them," and then you see there's actually spirits that she can contact in our world. But she
interesting.
said they wouldn't talk to her before because she didn't know their language. It wasn't until after
Ah,
she actually learned how to speak Japanese that she understood them and they understood her.
oh, that. This is a really, really cool concept.
See? This is what I'm talking about. Mandry, if you want to say as far as like concepts as far as this goes, this is why I'm like, this is interesting. This is an interesting concept. I didn't expect it to go that far.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
Yeah, I might. That'll be on that'll be on my infinite list. uh, but yeah. Let me see. Were there any standout moments?
um, hmm. So, I guess when they it's more of just a funny kind of situation moment to me, but like when they were the dragon that they ended up killing them essentially and brought her over there. When they came back, they actually he brought his usual like bento that he normally would, and then they came face to face with the dragon again, and then realized, and then they actually started having a conversation, and the person that you see in the back right hand side behind the elf girl, that's the humanoid version of the dragon.
For some reason,
They actually end up befriending the dragon, and they befriend her with food.
Yeah.
Because the food that they bring, like spices and textures and flavors that she's never experienced before, and it was just amazed her to the point where she actually she was like, "You can come back anytime you want. Just bring food when you do, and we're all good."
That is a theme that always happens where the person comes from another world and has like all these crazy snacks, and no matter who is on the other side, they're like, "Ooh, bring me more snacks."
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you have a favorite character?
What's her name? Maribel, the elf. She's adorable. She is just. I mean, this is an interesting thing for me because normally, so normally, I enjoy when they're more in the other world because I enjoy seeing and seeing all the lore and all the interesting bits that you don't see in our world.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing her interactions in our world is just adorable and cute and funny at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just her. At one point, so she sees things on a TV, and she sees like beautiful like countryside landscapes and stuff like that, and she's like, "Can we go there?" And he's like, "Well, I'm having some vacation coming up. There's Golden Week coming up, so I'm actually off for a while, so we can go visit my grandparents. We can go visit my grandparents' place." And she was super excited, and just the whole interaction between her and the grandfather, and her just trying to. The grandfather goes, "Hey, you can borrow my truck so you guys go sightseeing," and she's so impressed by the truck. She's like, because it's like one of those like work flatbed trucks. She like jumps in the back of it. He's in the cab, and she's in the back of it, like riding a horse, like, "Onward, let's go!" And he's just like, "Can you get in here? You can't go until you need to get in here. I'm sorry, we can't do that." Yeah, so things like that. See, it's just like it's fun.
Okay. Yeah. That's definitely that elf show. Definitely is on my list. Not the other elf show.
Yes. No, that should not. The other one, I don't know where you got that one, but it should not. No.
I think the translations or they both have elf san. So when I searched on my computer, elf san, I was like, okay, this one. And I was like, wait a minute, this one really?
Yeah, no. Not even a little bit on that one.
Alright. Cool. Alright, the next show we're going to be talking about is... Oh, I gotta hide this.
Does he go to sleep with like 10 women just to bring them to the...
There we go.
No, he doesn't go to sleep with any other women, just as FYI nature. He actually begins to have more of a romantic feeling for the elf over time.
Cool. Alright, 1 second. I'm gonna open this thing and make it less noisy.
Sure.
What do I
This one.
really watch when? What do I really watch when the lights turn off? Just regular anime. I wa- This is the movie. This is the movie room. I used to watch stuff on the projector until the projector broke. So then I watched stuff in the living room and kick Ray Ray off the TV. And I'm like, no more Disney anime time. But yeah, the next show we're gonna be talking about is I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time.
Yes. So, I really didn't. I don't know what I really. I didn't necessarily have any expectations for this, especially after the initial thoughts of watching this.
Uh huh.
But after watching it, and I watched the whole thing,
Okay.
and I'm just like, am I surprised? No. I mean, it legitimately was what they said. Like, there was no kidding around with this. She is the guild receptionist, and she will solo any boss to go clock out on time. Every time she gets upset with somebody, every time she goes and takes care of something that she is only capable of taking care of, like no one else has the power to take care of, it is only because it is causing her extra work. That is the only reason she ever goes and does anything. Wait, take that back. She does at least one time because the guy that has been fawning over her, who's in the party that's supposed to take care of a lot of this stuff, is in trouble. But other than that, it's always her just being upset because she's been getting overtime. I I have lost track of how many times they showed her in the quote unquote office area after dark, just doing paperwork and bitching the entire time about the fact that she is stuck there doing paperwork. And then she has her junior with her who is also stuck there doing paperwork, and they just you see them doing paperwork and then they complain, they stop, and you're like, oh my god, when is this going to end? Why can't we leave? And it's just over and over and over again, and I'm like, I don't know. I can't. I watched the whole thing. I think I watched the whole thing because I was like, I'm hoping, I'm praying for something to get better, for it to like something to happen.
Oh, like
It
something to
never happened.
yeah, something to intervene to where she doesn't have that same problem that she had at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, it never happened. It never happened. The only conclusion of this was the hero party ended up staying there with her to complete some of the overtime work and paperwork. That was literally it.
Wow.
So like the guild like, and the plot itself, I don't know. Wait, hold on. What was the what is the actual what did this come from? Like what is the
Source material.
yeah, what's the source material? It's a light novel. Okay. I guess I could see that. I feel like sometimes with the light novels, they don't I feel like they took things from it without actually taking everything from it, and it probably made it feel as just kind of hollow as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main plot ended up being that all of these troubles that were causing her the overtime work that she was dealing with were because the guild master of the town she was in was trying to resurrect a dark god to get their core, so that way he could fuse with it to use his ability to rewind time to save a party member that had died a long time ago, and he thought by utilizing this it would allow him to do it. It didn't happen. Spoiler, it didn't happen.
Like
He ended up
it didn't work.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. She
Okay.
ended up fusing with the Dark God, and they had to take him out because he just ended up going berserk.
Oh, so he's like, oh, I'll fuse with this with this dark god and maintain my.
Yeah,
He's like,
somehow he thought, Dark God, I can handle it. I'm good. And it's like, no, because he initially used the ability and he couldn't go back far enough. So then he was like, I'm just going to utilize more of it and I should be able to go back. But then when he utilized more of it, he lost control.
ah,
And it's like, dumbass. How did you not think that was going to happen? I
okay.
think everyone there could have called it that was going to happen, but apparently they try to make it look like he was just a grieving, because the person who had died that he was trying to bring back was his adopted daughter, and
Aw.
they try to make it to where he was blinded by his feelings, and he just didn't care, and he was grasping at any straws that he could in order to try to bring her back or do whatever he could. And I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, but it, why is it? You know, they try to bring about emotions in that regards. I didn't feel any. I felt nothing for it. I'm like, they try to make it a tragic backstory, and I'm like, am I just desensitized from tragic backstories, or is this just not that tragic of a backstory? Well, because here's the thing too, right?
It's like all you had to do
They
was
showed
all you had
they
to.
showed the guilt. Yeah, go
Mhm.
ahead.
I was like, all you had to do was tell me, and I'm like, ah, that sucks.
Well, like they showed the guildmaster
Mhm.
throughout the entire series, maybe like 12 episodes, 5 maybe 6 times.
Mhm.
Like he wasn't a main focal point. The party and the receptionist girl were the main focal points.
Mhm.
He was playing behind the scenes, and they just talked about this mysterious guy in black that was causing this problem, and they end up finding out like the last 2 episodes who it was
Mhm.
and why he was doing it, and all that went down. And I'm just like, if there was a build up to this, or if we had like more screen time with him, maybe I would feel a little bit more about him. But I really don't know much about him. I haven't seen him that much.
Or the.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
see the or the daughter.
No,
Yeah,
daughter,
okay.
daughter, you didn't even see until well, okay, you saw her at the on the 11th episode,
Okay.
and you
Yeah.
saw her briefly for maybe 5 minutes, and
Okay.
then the only time you see her after that is she's a burned corpse. That's it. That's all you see.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's tragic, but I don't feel for it. Am I supposed to? Sorry, I'm just not there.
Hmm.
And everything else, it's just like, yeah, no, she's just pissed off that she's working overtime. She just doesn't want to work overtime, so she goes and takes care of. When she finally hits her breaking point of, I'm through with this overtime, I'm going to handle the problem myself, is when things finally get done.
Okay.
And I'm like, can y'all just push her to get that to that point like sooner? Maybe then. I
Hmm.
don't know.
So even after like the
Anyways,
even after the whole plot about bringing back someone is over, she's still running into overtime.
yep, yep. See, that just felt like it was like a B plot in the A situation, and we're just like, we sidetracked for like 2 or 3 episodes to go deal with this.
That's not how you do a story.
No,
What's
it's
the
not.
what's the big problems resolved? Then the overtime
Then
should.
she should be happy.
Yeah, and then when a new person starts a new plan, then the overtime picks
Yeah,
back up again.
yeah. No, she's still getting overtime, and she still hates her life because of it.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah. So it just, I don't know. They may do another season of this. I don't
Hmm.
know, but if they do, I would struggle to watch it because after watching the first season, I'm just like, I prayed and hoped that there was going to be something more to this, that we were going to have something,
Hmm.
but you just no.
Okay. Um, would you recommend this?
No.
Okay.
If you you know what, I would say if you were a person, this would almost be traumatizing for someone who actually does work a lot of hours to go and watch this,
Oh.
because you just be like, I feel for her, but this you just be like, I think some of them would be like, if I was in her position, I would just go and I would have even started with the paperwork. I would just go take care of it, so I wouldn't even have it. Just get it done.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You would get in so much trouble. It was like you're supposed to follow the procedure. It's like, no, you never finished your work. I would just go ahead and do it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
And there was
man.
a running gag with her junior that because when she went into dungeons, she put on this persona as quote unquote the executioner because she always executed bosses like super quick or whatever. But she always covered and masked herself, and her junior fell in love with her thinking she was a guy.
Oh.
And every time they were there doing overtime, she actually at one point she had a doll of her executioner likeness and would be like, "You're the only thing that keeps me going. The idea that one day you and I might be together." And even the other party would be sometimes helping them with the overtime work, would look at her and be like, "Are you gonna tell?" No, I can't. At this point, I can't.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I kept waiting for at one point for someday for her to actually find out who she was, who really the executioner was, but they never even did that.
So she knew. She
Yeah.
knew that her junior was in love with her persona.
Mm-hmm. And she just let it continue. Just let it continue. I was
they
just
they
like,
gotta make a season 2 and make her let her find out.
ah.
Oh man. All right. Um. Well, it's interesting to know that there's like other plots and there was like a behind the scenes story, but like you said, it is a little disappointing that there was no resolution to her
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, no. Just an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, the picture that you have there of and that you see in the bottom right hand corner,
Mm-hmm.
that is like her like 50% of the anime.
Hmm.
She's just head down, stacks of paperwork all around her, and just being like, "I hate my life. I hate my life. I hate my life."
Ah man. Yeah. All right. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Bogus Skill Fruit Master. About the time I became able to eat unlimited number of skill fruits that kill you.
This is another one, much like the guild receptionist, where I'm like, "Why did I watch this? Why did I continue? Why did I watch it to completion?" Like, I dropped 2 animes this season, yet for some reason I continued with this one. I think in the same sense that I was like waiting for him to eat more fruit.
Wait,
I'm like, he's gonna eat more fruit. He's gonna eat more fruit.
wait. After the ones you talked about, he didn't eat anymore?
He ate like one
Why
in
would you
12 episodes.
why would you say
And
unlimited in the title if you only eat like what, 7?
less than that, I think like 5. He ate like 5, and one of the powers he got from it was completely stupid and had no real purpose to it. Yeah, he ate like 5.
That's false advertising.
We spent like 2 or 3 episodes on him helping out this blacksmith so she could make him the quote unquote ultimate sword, which by the end she didn't make. We spent another 2 or 3 episodes on the girl trying to find out information about the headmistress cleric person who was pulling strings behind the scenes by going after like the girl in the very back who had attacked them originally, who was like a necromancer essentially. I remember talking about her, I think, in the very beginning, because she was like in like episode 4 or 5 or something like that.
Hmm.
We spent like 3 episodes on that, and in the end, she apparently joined up, and now they're a party. And I'm like, you tried to kill. Okay, sure, all right, fine, yeah, this is what we're doing. Got it.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, pal, amigo, we're buddy pals now. Hey, frenemies, I guess. Sure, why not? Um, no, Major. The power was like even more benign than that. I think it was like, oh god, I can't even remember. It was so stupid. I think because he only used it. He only got appraised for what it did, and then was like, I'm not using that, and just didn't even bother with it. Like, there was no practical application for the ability he gained from eating the fruit at all. Like, and you're just like,
Just a troll skill.
yeah, basically. I'm like, geez, I'm glad he got it and not somebody else who can only have one ability, and this is the ability you're stuck with now.
Jesus.
Yeah. But they left it with him and the little girl and the blacksmith going on an adventure in order for the blacksmith to gain more ability and understand how he intends on using the sword she will craft him, so that way she can craft him the ultimate sword. And the lady, the blonde-haired lady and the red-haired, with another person that's not pictured, basically forming their own party to still try to gain information about the head cleric woman who's pulling the strings behind the scenes. And yeah, that's where it left off. I'm like, you guys set it up for another one, but I am not watching another episode of this anime. I am sorry. You guys spoiled that for me a lot.
As far as progression, would you say it's better than Konosuba?
They're about, honestly, they're about dead heat. They're about dead heat with each other. Because look, right, okay? His whole thing is I want to be the ultimate adventure. I want to be the number one.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of this, we are nowhere close to being that. Because if we were close to being that, he would be eating fruits all the goddamn time. He's growing them. He's growing them. He doesn't. It's not like he doesn't have a supply of them. He has them.
Does he give them to other people?
No. He just has them. But he doesn't eat them. And like we said in our initial thoughts, I'd be eating them like in the morning, pop one in. Maybe before bed, pop another one in. Because yeah, it kind of takes it out of him when he does it. Because his body changes, you know, and all that. So it's like, I'm sure, and it's like, it wears on you. But it's like, have one a day. Make it like a multivitamin. Pop a freaking fruit. And get another skill. And then, you know, at the end of the day, the blonde girl wanted to know more about the redhead, about that, and see the connection between her and the high priest. We knew nothing more. nothing was. We had more questions than we had answers. So in my mind, Konosuba and this one are about dead heat as far as did we accomplish anything? Hell no.
So,
If we accomplished anything, it was only by mistake.
um, as far as like, I guess I want to keep comparing this to Konosuba. So like with Konosuba, it's like the characters like had a little bit of progression, and they kind of like they did stuff. It's just nothing like productive.
Yeah.
Is it
This
kind
kind
of
of feels the same way. This kind of feels the same way.
okay?
And see, Major, I would think even if you gained powers like that, you're right. In 6 more hours, take another power supplement. But he doesn't. He only took them in the heat of battle. That is all he's ever done. I'm like,
Did he get in
you're
another
not battling all the time.
Okay.
Just take one when you're like again. Take it as a morning multivitamin.
I guess take it at night, so then you'll sleep through the problems.
See, why wouldn't you? If you can have unlimited numbers of skill fruits and have unlimited numbers of powers, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. That's that's unfortunate.
See, here's the thing: the title. You're not. See, it says I became able to eat unlimited numbers of skill fruits that kill. It doesn't say that he did eat unlimited numbers of skill fruits. He's just able to do it. Like, oh my god. See, I thought. See, that to me had an interesting. Like, this could be fun. This could
Yeah.
be interesting. We could have fun with this.
Oh, they could.
Even if he gets terrible abilities, maybe he figures out some way to use them in some weird fashion.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Like it's battle time. He eats one. His arms turn into jello. You're like, how's he gonna get out of this situation? Like that would be kind of.
Yeah. See, but here's the thing: the hero's dilemma. I can have endless powers, but should I? If you have the power, see, this is where I go. If I have I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So his whole thing is, I want to be the ultimate adventurer. How are you going to be the ultimate adventurer when the ability that you have, you're not even utilizing to the full extent? Yeah, so this was just this to me was a lesson in like persistence and patience of how I managed to get through this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what to say because it's like it's
Like they had I think the thing that irritates me the most, right, is that they had the potential to be interesting. They had the potential to do something great with it, and they fumbled it. I feel like.
all right. I got an idea.
Uh,
Put skill fruits into Konosuba next season.
I mean, maybe.
Like that would be so freaking funny.
Major, they don't even have chicks and boobs in this. Like, yes, the lady and the blonde-haired lady and the blacksmith and the girl in the back, yes, they have boobs. But for once in anime, they're not making a point about it. They really don't. So, like, they're not even going by the stereotypical anime trope. They're just like, we have this special ability set and a story that we could go with this. But we're not even doing that. We could go with here's butts and boobs shots with chicks all the time. But they're not even gonna go there. No, that's too lowbrow for us. I'm like, pick something. Do something. this is the Konosuba theory all over again. Because I'm like, do something, please do something, do something, to be productive in some way, shape, or form, please, please.
Yeah, I would say for Konosuba, it's like be productive towards your goal, and they do everything else but that.
Exactly.
And then for this show, it's like do something at all.
And the things we do, I'm like, why did we spend 3 episodes on the blacksmith and helping her? One episode would have been sufficient. We'd have been fine. Why did we spend 3 episodes on this girl only to be just like, she's now joined our party? Was there a point to that?
Yeah.
So yes, animes like this just irritate the crap out of me because the potential is there, but they just fumble it.
Okay. Cool. Alright. The next show we're going to be talking about is possibly the greatest alchemist of all time.
So this one, I would rank right alongside the online shopper, middle-aged online shopper, Another World.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's fun. It's interesting in regards to. So I don't know how much I explained about this from last one, but I do say. So it's an isekai, but like we were talking about before, it's an isekai where somebody who wasn't supposed to be isekai got sucked in while the other ones got isekai too.
Oh.
But
Okay.
you end up here's the nice twist, right? The whole isekai thing in the beginning wasn't supposed to happen.
Yes. I remember
The
this
the goddess of this world is extremely pissed off at the humans in this kingdom that performed the spell. She's like, y'all shouldn't have done that at all. I don't know why you did it, but you shouldn't have done it. So in between the summoning, she grabs the person who wasn't supposed to be even a part of it to begin with and brings them to her. And then, I think as I mentioned before on this, in our initial thoughts, when she sends them to her world, she actually manipulates time and sends them back a year before the initial summoning took place.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of figure out that the initial kingdom that did this summoning, they did it for purely personal reasons. Like, there is no big war, there's no demon king, like there's no stereotypical, like, they did this because they wanted power. They wanted somebody who they could train, manipulate, and send out as, like, essentially their own personal army in order to take over kingdoms. Like, that's their purpose.
Oh.
Like, they trained them to be monsters, essentially. Bullies.
So other kingdoms have done that too?
No, just this kingdom.
Oh, that's...
And our main protagonist, Takumi, he gets sent to a neighboring kingdom instead of the kingdom that did the initial summoning.
Mm-hmm.
So he's close, but he's not in the same kingdom. And his way of, he grew up, or he doesn't grow up, I mean, he literally was only there for a year until the other ones, but his experience in that world was completely different because he had no one to be pushing him to do anything specifically. The goddess basically said she does kind of want to kind of utilize him as a stop measure for the other heroes as far as that goes. But for the most part, for her, she just said, go live your life. I'm sorry that this happened to you. It shouldn't have happened to you, but I have no way of sending you back. So because I have no way of sending you back, go live your life, and I'll give you any abilities or skills that you want to utilize.
How many heroes did they summon?
Including the Miss one, they summoned four.
Oh, that's big, man. That's being greedy.
Isn't it though?
Jesus.
So to me, that was the interesting part of this. And then, like, when the year finally came about, you realize the reason why, especially the reason why she forbid this sort of magic, is because when it's done, it sends out a wave of magic from the point where it is done that disrupts everything around it.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, monsters went crazy. Like, even more animalistic and barbaric than even ever before. And
Okay.
it became a huge problem
Okay.
that, like, Takumi, luckily with his companions, were able to put down for the most part. But, like, that was just in their area. I can only imagine everywhere else that they weren't, that was having to deal with all of a sudden, like, hordes of crazed monsters just going on rampages.
Interesting. That was
And
just
then
a,
you see the
that was just like a side effect of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's essentially like they displaced so much magic that it became wild magic almost, and it just caused fluctuations and things to go just run rampant kind of thing.
Mm.
So
Man, it's like
yeah,
the more you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, that was a real bad idea.
it was a tremendously bad idea. It was a tremendously bad idea. And then they finally like unleashed the heroes, which one of them wasn't fully on board because one of them had a ability that gave them intuition essentially, and she realized early on that the kingdom that she had been summoned to were being manipulative.
Mhm.
So she bid her time until they got released, and then found a way to slip away, and then tried to meet up with Takumi later on to actually kind of seek sanctuary away from that whole thing.
Okay.
But the other two heroes, you could say, drink the Kool-Aid, I guess, in that
Yeah.
regards, and they're highly into it. They're high on their own stuff and just think that everyone should bow down to them and go on freaking rampages of their own, essentially.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
to me, yeah, see, to me, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of gives me like Shield Hero vibes too,
Kind of.
where yeah, it's like
Because, like, the heroes are not quite the heroes that you expect them to be, kind of thing.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
power hungry, arrogant, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
and the kingdom's just behind them.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, go. And we're like,
They're just encouraging it, the bad behavior. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Which is why this one was definitely higher up on my list, and I enjoyed watching it because they actually pursued that to an extent, as far as like showcasing all that stuff.
okay, cool. Any standout moments?
Every time he makes, because so his biggest thing is the reason why I'm going to be the greatest alchemist of all time, is when he was given the option early on, he was like the goddess asked him, "Are you going to be a warrior type? Are you going to be a creator type?" And he was like, "I'd like to create." Actually, he's like, and actually, alchemy was kind of one of the things he had in his mindset when he said that. And it's funny because he creates things that are sort of like from our world, but he kind of improves upon them because he has the ability to do so.
Mm.
So, like, he made a carriage that is essentially like it's the TARDIS essentially,
Okay.
because it's bigger on the inside. So it
Ah.
looks like a normal carriage from the outside, but when you walk in, it's like a 3 or 4 bedroom house with like a kitchen, a living room, multiple bedrooms, and he made it to where it had like super good suspension.
Yeah.
So like you can't even tell that you're in a carriage when it's actually going full tilt and on a road and everything.
Okay.
And it's just funny to me because like they showcase that, and then they later on showcase the heroes being traveling,
Hmm.
and they're in a carriage, but they're just like bouncing all over the place, and they're just like, my God, this is horrible. We need a better. Can't they get a better mode of transportation for us? We deserve better and everything. And I'm just like, I just laugh because I'm just like, you poor souls. You could have had better, but of course you're here and under false pretenses and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That kind of reminds me of Washi from Tenchi. Like
yeah,
she like turn a closet into like a giant laboratory.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So to me, like the things that he makes and stuff like that is interesting in that regards.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Did they finish? Like, did they button it up, or is there like more to go?
Oh no, there's more to come.
Okay. So they
They
just.
barely got started on the heroes situation because they spent the very first like I'd say 8 episodes or so just on him getting accustomed, getting his team together, growing into the role that he had made for himself.
Hmm.
Before they even like they kept doing little snippets of the heroes,
Hmm.
but it wasn't until like the 8 episode end that the officially the timing of the year took place where all of a sudden now the hero's been summoned.
Okay.
So
Um.
it took time.
Okay. Yeah. It's, like if there's another season for this one, I may pick up the first season because, um, it's interesting. Like it has aspects from show that I like, and I am curious to see like I don't know, like he'll
Mhm.
resolve the issue. Um, who's your favorite character out of everybody?
Um, I think Takumi, the main character, he's very dependable, very reliant, and he's very methodical about what he does and how he does it.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't run from. I mean, to a certain extent, yeah, there is emotions involved in his decisions and what he does, but for the most part, he tries to really consider his actions, which for me, an MC who actually considers his actions is weird.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, most MCs are just very much, especially in situations like that, they're just all like gung ho, just like off the cuff, run purely on feelings kind of situation.
Yeah.
To actually see one who actually like takes his time and is like, let's think about this. Let's try to devise a plan, or
Hmm.
he didn't immediately go off and raid a dungeon. He actually made sure he's like, wait, before we do that, let me make a golem that will act as our tank, so that way, since you guys are just damage dealers, we can work this out. So to me, it's
Okay.
like that's the sort of thinking where I'm just like, oh, okay, you actually showcase that you have a brain, you actually have smarts, intelligence, and
Hmm.
you're willing to utilize them.
Okay.
So,
So would you say like Overlord would be the same type of thinking, or is that more like introspective?
um, yeah, I'd say that's pretty close to it, honestly. Um, honestly, if Overlord took the same situation as this and utilized the powers in the same way, I would have liked the later seasons of Overlord probably a little bit better,
Okay.
because I think in like Overlord, his personality, I think, began to shift, and then I just started hating the character
Hmm.
because it wasn't so much about being tactical or using his intelligence to solve the issues. It's more just like, I have power and I'm going to wield it however I see fit.
Okay. So he kind of just got corrupted.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Whereas he kind of has that abilities and powers, but he's not corrupted by it, and he doesn't necessarily showcase just the power. He actually can solve issues or problems without it.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's like the more and more I hear about it, the more and more I like this show.
Yeah.
Cool. 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 All right. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Magic Maker.
Going on the same topic of what we were just talking about. I don't think this was one of the ones that I talked about initially. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because this was one of the ones. So, just going into this one. This one is done by Studio Dean.
Okay.
Which we have.
I've been hearing Studio Dean a lot lately.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I've seen Studio Dean stuff. There's a couple of things. Yeah, Orphan and yeah, a couple of other ones. Oh, Seven Deadly Sins too. Um, so the story on this one is on the night of his 30th birthday, one man's dream of wielding magic comes true after he unexpectedly passes away. He wakes up as Sion, a young child in another world. He and his elder sister, Mari, are the children of a lower-class noble family who govern their region. After receiving conflicting messages from their father, Sion and Mary go out on an adventure to uncover the magic. That doesn't give a good description, I don't feel like. This one is interesting. So, yes, he's isekai to this world. They don't really go into depth as far as how he was killed. He was just all of a sudden he's here, and we occasionally get snippets of like his previous life, but like very short, like seconds, I would say. And a lot of times it's showcasing. Well, a lot of times it's showcasing like how he, as in our world, was obsessed with the idea of magic.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So he's doing funny things like, trying to hold seances or do spells, casting, or stuff like that.
Okay. I would say on the whole topic of like, I think we had talked about it before. I just kind of want to revisit it again. It's like at the beginning of isekai genre, like isekai subgenre of fantasy, it's like the accident that got them to the other world was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's like you can take it or leave it.
Over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just gloss over that.
Yeah.
We did. Sometimes, and it wasn't until they even showed flashbacks that I was like not even necessarily sure that he had been isekai, that it had happened at all, or he just was a kid who all of a sudden got it into his head about magic and just was like, I like magic, I want to do magic, or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, if they took the isekai part out of it, would it even change much?
Not a lot. There would be a few things I think it would, but for the most part, not a lot.
Okay, cool.
They could revamp it in a different way than they did, and it would still make sense just as a purely fantasy way. The only thing that wouldn't make sense as far as that goes is because in this world, magic is unknown. It does exist, but people don't know about it because you later find out it was thousands of years in the past of this world that magic was there. In that situation they called it sorcery.
Okay.
And it's just that over time the knowledge and the practice of it disappeared.
Okay.
So nobody remembers anything about it, but it still exists.
Okay.
So he just kind of stumbles upon it and essentially self-teaches himself. He just kind of figures out, oh, this is what happens, and I can utilize this. And it's fun to see his thought process because there's been other shows that have dealt with magic, and this is one of the things I really like when it comes to fantasies and especially isekais and stuff like that. When they find out about magic and they see they look at the machinations on how it works. I know like Wise Man's Grandchild, he utilized theories of our world in order to become a more powerful magician, wizard, whatever you call it, essentially. Because in that situation, it was like you have to understand how fire works.
Yeah.
The more you understand how fire works, like you can add in, like you understand, okay, oxygen. The more oxygen you put in, the more dense it becomes, and the more hotter the flames can get. Like the reasons behind that in our world make more sense. In their world, they don't understand that such a thing.
Yeah.
Like the science behind it is not there, but as it is in like our world.
Yeah.
So when you understand the science and you apply it to magic, you make more potent magic. And like in this one, Magic Maker, he kind of did the same thing.
Hmm.
He was like he understood the fundamentals of the science behind the elements of fire, of water, of air. Like people didn't understand what made up air and why it was the way it was. They just knew it is kind of situation. But he was able to utilize that with magic in order to actually create wind gusts, in order to actually create like propel his jumps and make them higher because he could launch himself, pushing himself up with the air in order to, the understanding of gravity and stuff like that. They don't understand that sort of thing because it's science based. It's not magic based. So I like that aspect of this. I mean, they spend a good chunk of time on it. They honestly don't even get to like the meat of the story until like the last 4 episodes, I want to say. But I appreciate that, right? Like I appreciate the fact that they took their time, they built him up, and then they're like, here's the first actual real trial. Like at some point, all of a sudden, people were dropping unconscious from what they called a lethargy sickness. And what he began to realize is that the people who were affected by this had magic within them, but all of a sudden that magic got depleted.
Okay.
And that's the reason why they were alive, but they were they were alive. Their eyes were open, but they wouldn't interact. They wouldn't talk. They wouldn't move. So they called it lethargy sickness. And like he ended up finding out that, and he ended up finding out that it was actually caused by demons. Like that was the reason. The reason why sorcery in that world became non-existent is because there had been a war long ago where there had been a battle between demons and another race that was like pseudo-humans, which you end up finding out is what he is actually descended from.
Okay.
And that's the reason why he can use sorcery. But in that battle, his people ended up sealing demons away. Now they are actually starting to break free from the seal that they've been put under. And the demon was what was causing the lethargy sickness to happen in the area he was in. Because it was pulling the magic away and zapping it from people.
Okay. So in this world, there's humans, pseudo-humans, and then demons?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I guess, were there any standout moments?
Each time he was actually like learning about the magic and how he was able to utilize it, I think was a very standout moment for me, and I enjoyed watching a lot because it was narrated, so you saw him practicing, and you could hear his thoughts as far as what he was thinking about, how he was thinking about it. Eventually, he ends up finding a metal that is a good conductor for magic, and he actually utilizes it. He has gauntlets made specifically so that way he can he uses it as like a spark, so that way he can push through magic, spark it, and actually create flames as a fireball being shot out.
Okay.
So things like that, to me, I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. That's really like thinking outside the box, but in a realistic way.
Okay. Cool. Favorite character?
I hate to say it, but I guess I'm just in that role today. Today, I'm just the main character. Sion he's again. It's another of those characters that his ingenuity, his intelligence impressed me the most about the way that he would take the knowledge that he had gained from our world and utilize it in this one to an extent that he actually, like, he had no mentor. A lot of times when it comes to like magic and fantasy worlds, there's a mentor, there's somebody who's teaching them, you know, they find it in books, stuff like that. He did this straight off the cuff. He did this straight with experimenting purely on his own.
Oh.
Like everything he learned how to cast fireballs, he learned how to cast lightning, he learned how to create shields to enhance himself physically. Like all of this stuff he learned trial and error by himself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, I think he is a great character and really showcases like intelligence and actual forethoughtness and being able to, you know, stick to itiveness. I think because there was a lot of times there were some time jumps that they did where like he would hit a wall, like he wouldn't know where to go next, or he thinking about it, and he would eventually find inspiration, and he would have his eureka moment, and he'd be like, oh wait, I didn't think about it this way, let's try this, and all of a sudden he'd have a breakthrough.
Okay.
So
Cool. So you said that the like they didn't get the kind of overarching story moving until like episode 8 or so. So
roughly.
did they button it up to be like,
So there's definitely more that they could tell. They've honestly barely touched the surface of it. They buttoned up the initial problem, but it was just like that was the problem in the moment. Now we know that there is an overarching problem that is happening all over, and something will need to be done about it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, this one sounds interesting. Let's see.
This was definitely one of the ones I was glad that I definitely got into. So
Cool. Alright. The next show we're going to be talking about is Solo Leveling.
did you watch the last one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
What'd you think about that?
Yeah, this is gonna be going on for a while.
Oh, it is. It 100% is. I've already read comments from some people, and they've already been saying like, this is where the real story starts progressing and getting into it.
God. And it's like, what do you mean the real story? It's already amazing.
It is. Okay. But I can see it.
So, like, I don't even like. We talked about this show so much already.
We did.
So
I tiptoe around because I do know like little bits and pieces. I'm on the internet. I see things. I hear about things. I know little bits and pieces about things, but I don't want to spoil that for you. So I'm like tiptoeing myself around saying anything that hasn't been already revealed at this point.
Yes.
But here's the thing I will say. They have done a lot of good groundwork as far as you've seen what's going to be happening. You just don't know it yet.
Okay.
Kind of like the same way with like Slime.
Yeah.
Slime introduced a lot of like groundwork in the last couple episodes before the end. That I'm like, knowing what I do know, the little bits and pieces, in the same way with Solo Leveling, I'm like, that was foreshadowing about what's about to come. And the same thing with Solo Leveling at this point.
Okay. Cool. I'm trying to figure out like how to approach this one because it's like it's one of our deep dive shows, and we kind of did the deep dive at the beginning of season two. So I
Yeah.
yeah. So um,
I mean, we could just honestly just talk about just the amazingness of the episodes that had followed after we had talked about it. I think
yeah, like
just
let
in it.
do the dungeon breakdown like we did last time.
I mean, just the amazing fights. I mean,
Yeah.
so he's completed the demon castle 100%.
Yes.
That was outstanding. Um, God, that fight just showcased. And here's the thing too. I like how each fight, even though you know how powerful he is, each fight he gets into that it's like that pushes him.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not like, he has some of those smaller ones where he just goes into a dungeon and just handily takes care of things or whatever. And even his progression going up through the dungeon to the castle was, I mean, they sped through it because there was no point in showing it. They just showed snippets of it because you knew he was going to take care of it.
Hmm.
But it's when they get to that point where it's like, here's the main boss, here's the top tier.
Hmm.
Then you're like, oh, he's if he's this powerful and he's having this much trouble, holy crap.
Yeah. I love the fact that he keeps running into trouble,
Hmm.
and it's not repetitive.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like um and it's like one of the coolest things is every now and then he showcases his army.
Hmm.
It's just like, let me add another layer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught it. I'm just gonna say this was something that happened on the last episode when he hit level 100.
Mhm.
There was that little glitch that they sped through. Did you freeze frame that and actually see that?
I saw something happen, but I didn't like look into it.
Yeah. So remember back in when he was at level 75 of the dungeon,
Mhm.
he mentioned the fact that he had gotten another key.
Okay.
But remember, when he looked at the description of it, it was all question marks.
Mhm.
That little glitch was because he hit level 100. And now the key is now able to do what he needs to do.
Okay.
So they gave a brief description on it if you actually freeze frame it. So it's kind of an interesting Easter egg that not many people really caught on to. A few people did, but not many people caught on to.
Mhm.
But if you actually freeze frame it and actually look at it, they do say it's not necessarily giving anything away. They name it and then they say you're now allowed access
Mhm.
to this area, basically.
Okay.
He just needs to find a door to allow him access to get in.
Okay. Cool, cool.
But I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, because you all kind of knew when he originally saw that key and it was all question marks. The reason why it was all question marks is he wasn't a high enough level to get to where he needed to go.
Hmm.
So they kind of showcased him reaching level 100 to be like, now he's hit the level. Here's what this is.
Okay. Cool. When you mentioned glitch, it reminded me of the demon girl that
Mm-hmm.
kind of glitched out when he asked a specific question.
Yep,
That's
that was from some foreshadowing there.
it's it's spooky when like he bumps up against like a barrier like that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, there's something bigger going on.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and it's
I
always
mean, at the end of the last episode, where they showed Jeju Island again briefly.
Mhm.
Those two guys that they showed in Jeju Island.
Oh, the portal rippers.
Yeah, they're a part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty obvious that they're a part of that. But I'm just saying they're part of the bigger picture that something's coming.
One thing, speaking of those two guys, I'm getting lost with the giant dudes that just pop up from time to time. Who's the dude that threw the X in the sky and killed all the ants?
So I believe he is a S rank hunter. So one of two things. He's either an S rank hunter from China, based upon his garb and his. Because if you think about it, so the location of Soul Lebanese Korea.
Hmm.
We got help from Japan.
Yes.
They were saying that in the beginning, right before they showcased that guy who did the X in the sky, that this has been now 2 days. My thought was is the ants were still flying out, but since they were going to China, China was just out there monitoring to make sure no ants came their way.
Hmm.
I think. The other part of that is too, though, if I remember correctly, it could have been one from Japan, because if you recall, um, they said when they did the raid, there's 11 S ranks, but only 10 of them were going to the island, which means one was being kept behind.
Okay.
What if that was the one that was on the ship, and they were just keeping him there as like a safeguard in case ants did come that way and they needed someone to take him out?
Okay.
So one of two things: he's either from China or Japan, but he's definitely an S rank
Yeah.
hunter.
Okay. Um. So there, that dude, and then did Jinwoo's dad showed up for a second?
Yep.
Okay, so that was him.
He
Um.
was still wearing that orange prisoner gear or uniform that he had on.
Yeah. And then there's the two new giant dudes.
Yeah.
um.
So one of them looked familiar as a creature we've already seen before from the very first episode. I mean, the second episode. The blue dude.
I do not remember.
The ice elves.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, yes. But he didn't look like an elf. He was just
No, he
blue.
didn't.
Yeah, he was just
He was
blue.
blue, but he has features looking like that kind of thing. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
no,
yes,
he
yes.
was not. But he's that should I guess I think that was their way of kind of hinting at
Uh-huh.
him. I think I
Hmm?
do kind of know what he is, kind
Okay.
of.
Okay. Um.
But the same, if you figure out who he is, it will help you figure out who the other dude was.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna wait to see it in the show. Um.
Yeah, I mean, again, they've done a really good job at sprinkling in like information. Sometimes they hit you over the head with it, like when the the monsters would glitch out when they're trying to speak to him.
Hmm.
Other times they just say it without making a point about it,
Hmm.
but the information is there
Okay.
as far as that goes.
Yeah. It like I don't know. It's I just want to like applaud the show for like how you say hitting you over the head with like there's something bigger. It's
Hmm.
it's
But they do a
it's
good job. Then, like they hit you over the head with something bigger, but then because they sprinkle things in without making it as big a point later on,
mm,
you don't notice those things because you're like, oh, you expect them to hit you over the head with it,
yeah,
but then they don't always.
yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like me following the show. It's like I'm I'm pretty sure Jinwoo's going to be okay. It's gonna be rough,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be okay. Not everybody around him is gonna be okay. So there is,
No,
so there is like there is a
there
sense
is
there's stakes.
and the collateral damage as far as that goes can happen quite easily, as we've seen, especially at the end of this season.
Yeah, and then the what is yeah. So he's most likely gonna be okay. He always finds a way out. Everybody around him's not always gonna be okay. And then he keeps ascending, and
Hmm.
there's way more above where he is.
Yeah.
So like he's nowhere near the top.
No.
So so it's like there's people who are at the top. So it's like how many times is he gonna knock on the wrong door and like
Yeah.
like run into trouble? So it's one of those things where it's like he asks
I
a
think
question and you're like and he's like wrong door and I'm like oh shit.
the other thing I like about him is that they have made this like overpowered character, right?
Hmm.
But they do things throughout the series that still showcase his humanity.
Hmm.
Like he can toe that line pretty well of being just emotionless and thoughtless as far as that goes when it comes to everyone else around him. But there are certain things he does, certain actions he takes that really showcase that even though he does toe that line, he still has that human side to him.
Hmm.
So like the thing with his mom, and as far as when he revived her and you saw him break down,
Hmm.
like people didn't like that for some reason. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was like so needed to showcase that he still has a human side to him.
Hmm.
You know, his when he jumps in, yes, he could. I mean, he even said at the end of the season he could have jumped in sooner. He could have gone there to begin with, and there probably wouldn't have been as casualties as there were. But he still jumped in. He still protected them, and he still like he pushed himself because he wanted to heal Chahe.
Hmm.
Like he was worried because she was fading fast, and
Hmm.
he wanted to help her. And and the same thing with um, Byung-yu when he resurrected him. Like that whole scene, I think was done perfectly because he said, and it's true. A lot of times, I was watching some people react to that, and some of them were just like, "Is he just making that up?" No, I think it's 100% true that he heard Byung-yu's voice say, "Resurrect me, use my power,"
Hmm.
because he wanted to help. And because you in the very first season at the end when he got the powers of the Shadow Monarch, he he said he heard voices like they were in pain.
Hmm.
And I think that's he actually can hear their voices depending upon how powerful they are. Like
Hmm.
he can hear them more clearly, I think. And I think
Hmm.
he did hear Byung-Yu's voice telling him, "Use me, resurrect me so I can heal her."
Yeah.
And then the fact that his buddy comes up behind Jinwoo and says, please don't keep him, don't utilize him in battle because he doesn't belong there. He didn't want to be in battle anymore. And the fact that he said, oh, this reminds me of the Red Gate, but before you were giving me orders, whereas this is an earnest plea, but you don't have to worry because I felt the same way.
Hmm.
And he released him. He would have been a great asset to him as far
Oh yeah.
as if he kept him as a shadow. Having an S rank healer like that, considering what he saw him do, hell yeah, he would have been a great asset. But he didn't want to. He didn't want to keep him because he felt it was wrong. And
Yeah.
again, that showcases his humanity.
Yeah.
So all in all, I think their way of going about this. I mean, this is more saying towards the creator of the manhwa because this is all stuff that happened to the manhwa as well.
Hmm.
I think did a great job storyline wise of you have a character who is completely overpowered, but he's still human and he still acts human.
Hmm.
And I think there's a great balance there with that.
Yeah. Um. There was something I forgot what I was gonna. Um. What was it? Yeah. Good. I.
Even the human side, for him is like the times where he's like, at the end that last episode where he brought out the demon monarch sword
Mm.
and was utilizing this, and he was like, "Oh, I should use this more often." That's a very human. Like he forgot. Like, wait, I have this. I should utilize this more often.
Yeah.
But it's a very human thing to be like, I prefer my daggers. I love my
Yeah.
daggers. I want to use these. But he's like, man, I should use this more often because it's great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I haven't used this in a while. And it's like, whoosh. He's like,
Yeah.
oh. Yeah.
He's like,
Um,
yeah, I should use this more often. But see, that's a very human thing because you don't think about those things. It's like you like what you like, and then you just like, I have it, but it's whatever. And you're like, oh wow, why don't I use this? So it's like, yeah,
yeah, it's one of the things where it's like he's always getting new toys, and like
yeah,
that's bound to happen, where you like forget how
yeah.
awesome one of your toys is.
But again,
Uh,
that's a human trait.
yeah. One thing I remember what I was gonna say. When it's slipping. Oh, like having fun. There we go. Like how you say he's human. Like I love the fact that when he started fighting, and like he like got rid of all the enemies, and then he just started picking up loot. Just like he's like, oh, let me add this to my army. Let me get these ants and everything, and then
Yeah,
he forgot that other people were standing there watching him.
yeah, like and like the orc when he was facing in the high orc area,
Yeah.
and they come out to him and like Jinwoo, he's like, oh god, I forgot they were here. I was so busy
Yes.
just resurrecting them. I totally forgot that they were even there.
Yes.
Again, that's a very human thing, you know.
And then he forgot to resurrect one of the guards.
Yeah, yeah.
That was so
He's like, hey,
funny.
wasn't
Wasn't
there
there?
four of you?
And dude's like, yeah, he's in the ceiling. I'm like,
Yeah, there's four of you. Like, oh yeah, I
oh
did knock him up there.
yeah.
Oops.
and,
All
it,
three of you should be fine.
and it was one of those things where it's like, he was doing that as an insult to like
Yeah.
copy what the other guy was doing, and then he like forgot about it. Yeah. Um, yeah, this show's really cool. I'm trying to think like what other elements of out of the rest of this season are like.
I mean, if you're watching standout moments, I mean, you could go episode by episode
Yeah.
and there's just standout moments every single episode.
Oh,
I mean,
the black
from
bug.
his, yeah, yeah, Beru.
Yes, like it's.
So it's fun because you don't. So again, this is one of those things they didn't outright tell you, but you saw it, right? So you notice that when he was originally fighting him before he resurrected him and everything, you notice that Beru utilized ice powers and regenerative abilities.
Mm,
He didn't have those. He got those because of the people he consumed. He
mhm.
had the ability basically to be able to whoever he consumed, he gained their powers. He also gained their memories.
That's why he was chomping on the queen.
That's
Okay.
why he was chomping. And notice when he chomped on the queen, who did he go after right after that? Like immediately. Chae.
Yeah, because she's the one who chopped her
Because
head
who
off.
killed the queen? Exactly. So he
Yes.
immediately knew who did the killing blow and immediately went for her.
Wow.
And
Oh.
that's also the reason why he the demeanor he has, and also probably the reason why that's the reason why he can talk, because when he ate enough of them, he gained the knowledge of communication, which is why he was initially, when he bit off Byung-goo's head or whatever, and he started talking to the other guy, he said the things he did. It's because he had the memories and he was testing it. Like he was trying to be like, how do I move my mouth to make these noises that they understand? And that's the reason why he said repeatedly what Byung-gu said right before he got killed, and then immediately afterwards, once was comfortable enough with it, he started speaking normally. Like he started actually saying things like "you're all weak," because that's what he wanted to say. He
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know how to until he formulated it and actually kind of. It's also the reason why he says to Jin Woo and refers to him as my king.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember, Byung-gu, what his conversation with his friend when they were in the bar, what was one of the things that they talked about? He said that he's always interested in period pieces,
Uh,
historics, dramas,
Interesting.
which is why he refers to Jinwoo as my king.
Wow. Yeah, I
So a
thought of
lot of pieces like going into it.
yeah, I just thought of it because the queen was his leader, and then Jin would be the king now.
Nope.
That's interesting. Okay. Um.
I'm sure going into the next season they will get more into that and more into his personality in that regards.
Mhm.
But I kind of found that out. I found that out separately, but then after watching the episode, it all kind of made sense to me when I was watching it of how all of that kind of went together. The only
Okay.
thing is, I think now that he's a shadow, I don't think he can actually. I don't think he has that same ability to consume and gain abilities. I think he lost it when he became a shadow.
Okay. Yeah. That man. One thing that I kind of want to be a little bit more clear on is the leveling up system for the shadows,
Mm-hmm.
because when Jinwoo levels up, it's kind of like less I guess it's less strong than it used to be. Like little, like whenever he defeats enemies, like level up, level up, and then like one like a special move or a new rank will show up. Um, I don't really see that much for the shadows. Yes, there's a lot of them, so you kind of can't do that for each individual one. But
So they don't go into it deeply, but they did kind of touch on it
mm,
because while he was going up the demon castle, he made mention that the title that they're given had increased,
mm,
and it's like they're given ranks.
mm,
There's like lieutenant, commander,
yeah,
general,
yeah,
stuff like that. And I think based upon those ranks is you could correlate them based upon what, like, if they were hunters, what level they would be at, kind of thing.
okay,
So he did mention before, like while he was going up the demon's castle, that Egris had gone up to, I forget which ranking it was, but he
mm,
said he was on par with an S rank hunter,
okay,
and that Tank had gone up to an A rank. I think.
okay,
I think Tusk, I want to say, at that time was either already an S rank,
mm,
roughly. He was like A rank already, and then I think he upgraded. I think he was like S rank as well. I think,
okay,
but Biru is like high S rank.
yeah. um, the
Because you
mutilation
have,
move was like,
yeah. So you notice that was also a thing that they did. It was one of his already abilities that got upgraded, but they did it really fast
mm,
when they showed it. So you might not have noticed that that was like the fatal strike move.
mm,
His fatal strike move upgraded into mutilation.
okay, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the battles are getting like just faster and crazier,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where like you know how like you hear a really good song and you kind of just start automatically bobbing your head.
Mm-hmm.
um with that last battle with where he was like the battle with Better, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where it's like I don't know, my like I'm just laying back chilling on the couch, but like part of me's kind of wanting to move because it's just I'm just like get him like
But
like
see, that's a good setup, right? Because
Yeah.
you could have intense battles like that and not feel that way,
Yeah.
but you have that feeling of like because you've the heroes that he took out,
Mm.
you were like, oh my god! Like I even watch other people's reactions to that. It's like seeing Cheyenne and the Ultimate Weapon and his other friend, like all of them just like taken out like that over and over again, and you're just like, oh my god! And you're just like, they're just done. And then when you see Byung-gyu just die, somebody who initially said he didn't want to go, but then felt obligated to go because he wanted to protect his friend, get killed, and you're just like, what are we gonna do? And then so when Jinwoo, our hero, finally shows up, you're just like, get him, freaking annihilate him. So
Yeah.
when he's going at it, you're in the motion. That to me is good build up. That to me is good characterization. That is good storytelling because you as a viewer are now just as invested,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, yeah, get them. And even at the end when Bitter was like crawling on the ground, it was almost pathetic. It was almost just like you almost felt sorry for him, but almost not quite,
Yeah.
because you're like, no, you need to die. You
Yeah.
There's no other way. This has got to happen.
Yeah. Um, and then also one aspect of Better that I really liked, but I'm also like, it's like I like, but I'm kind of creeped out about. Like he is basically a horror movie villain for multiple aspects. Um,
Hmm.
like the whole dong, the um, basically mimicking your prey,
Yeah,
like that. It's it's like when he did that, I got the feeling of like when creatures do that in horror movies, where they're
yeah,
like, "Hey, buddy, come over here," and then like they're like, "Oh, is it Billy?" And they run over there and they're like, "Ah." And then when he tried to poison Jinwoo, like
yeah,
that tentacle thing was the creepiest thing that I've seen in this show.
yeah.
Um, and it's like one, it was creepy looking, but then two, it was fast and deadly. So it's just something very, very dangerous that he like pulled out as like a trump card because he was
Yeah,
backed up against the wall.
yeah.
Um, and then just the overwhelming power that he had. So like,
It's funny too. I think a lot of people didn't necessarily realize like Beru initially was very much like he knew he was strength. Like he knew he was power. So like that's why initially when Jinwoo came up against him, they went blow for blow because he thought he was the most powerful one. But then when he realized that this Jinwoo's power was greater, that's when he pulled out the trump card. But then when he realized even the trump card was going to work, he he went from I'm going to be strength to I'm going to be speed.
hmm,
That's where he went through that transformation of like condensing himself as much as he could in order to get himself as fast as he could.
mm-hmm,
And then still, Jinwoo not only was able to keep up, but even started to exceed him.
yeah, it's yeah, it's I love the way that fight progressed. Like especially
Yeah,
especially at the beginning because it's like let's try this out, and he's like like you said blow for blow, and it's like I loved it because I could slowly see what was happening. Like a lot of times
hmm,
in these fights, it's like a bunch of crazy stuff happens. Then I'm like, okay, let me recap it, kind of recap. And it's like with this one,
yeah.
it's like in real time. I was following it. It's like I'm stronger. No, I'm stronger. No,
Yeah.
I'm stronger. And I'm just like,
Well,
are they?
they did the same thing. It's very funny you say that because it's very they did the same thing with like Igris.
Mm-hmm. Ah,
Because
that's
they did the same thing when
right.
like Igris when Jinwoo put his weapons up and then Igris was like, oh, we're not doing weapons. Okay, fine. When we put my weapons down, we'll go fists. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like the way Jinwoo and Biru went is because they were just like, I'm gonna hit you. All right, well now I'm gonna hit you. I do love that. Jinwoo has his favorite abilities. Jinwoo has his favorite things he likes to do because like the ruler's hand, he likes utilizing that a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
But I love that interaction where after Biru did his first hit, he was like, because you notice when they stood together, Biru was taller, like
Yeah.
way taller
Yeah.
than he was.
Mm.
So that's why he was like, he grabbed him with the ruler's hand to bring him down and be like, you hit me in the face, I'm gonna hit you in the face, and we're gonna see how this goes. I mean, it was so just incredible in that regards. I
Yeah.
mean, it's perfect. I can't think of anything else I would say other than that.
Yeah. Good, good. Okay. And it's it's one of those things where it's like I kind of want to like guess like what's upcoming, but you kind of know already, so I'm not really sure
Yeah.
like what I
Well, I
could
mean,
guess.
okay, I could use far. Well, see, here's the thing. Like, I kind of know,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not like. I mean, obviously, the thing with those two guys at the end that's gonna become more of a pronounced thing.
Mm-hmm.
You also noticed at the end when they showcased like the four people that were in the picture that were scrolling up that ended with the national rank hunter from America that they talked about briefly and right before Jeju Island.
Mm-hmm.
His picture was like at the top of it, but you noticed that what's his face that had said that he was going to kill Sung Jin Woo was also in that picture.
I don't.
So
Yeah.
my thought is that the same dude that Sung Jin Woo's dad just absolutely bodied.
Was it Dongsuk or something?
Yeah, Dong Suk.
Yeah.
He's gonna come back. He has to.
I was about to ask like when that dude's coming back. So I'm like, I'm not as like worried about him as I used to be. Like,
I'm not, but here's the thing too. You noticed before he had said that he was, yes, his main target is Jinwoo, but he also wants to go after his buddy
mm,
Jinho. And
yes.
Jinho is just as you said before. You already said it. The people around him are fair game.
Ah, that's
You know
right.
Jingwoo will get out of it, but the people
Oh
around him, you don't know.
no! Is this gonna be a freaking um Krillin situation?
Maybe,
Oh,
maybe.
oh, I'm gonna be so mad. Ah. I am curious what the guild is gonna be like.
Oh, the guild he's making?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's not like he's grabbing the elites. It's like
No,
yeah, so it's
I
gonna
don't
be
even think that he. I don't even think he wants and or cares about grabbing. He might not even. He might not even have anybody other than Jinho and the girl be in the guild.
yeah. So he
Because
basically wants to
why
function.
bother? Why bother having people join you in raids when you're not going to get the experience if they kill the things? You want the experience as Jinwoo.
So he just wants the
So
structure of a guild to get all the
yeah,
benefits. Okay,
yep,
okay, that makes sense.
yep. Because why would he want other people?
Okay.
There may be other people who want to join him, but he's probably going to reject them
Yeah.
and be like, "No, I'm good." I mean, just like what he did with when he went into the gate at the very end, when the other guy was like, "Hey, the other hunters are stuck in traffic. They're gonna be a little while," and he's just like, "I got it. Don't worry about it."
And then he walks in and it turns red immediately. He's like,
Yeah.
God damn it. I'm like, every time, you know this.
Yep. Which, I mean, we already speculated that. You already mentioned that. Is why is it that every time he goes into a dungeon, something happens? It's not necessarily every time, but it's a lot of the time. A lot of the time, something happens.
Mm-hmm.
So something to consider about.
Yeah.
I guess we said before, the system wants him strong. There's a reason for that.
Okay.
There's got to be a reason for that.
Yeah.
So whoever's controlling the system is behind the scenes is got some other plans.
Yeah. Um, So as far
and
as
we know from the demon girl that there's a war happening.
okay, yeah. So as far as the show goes, it's basically gonna be like they'll do a season or they'll do a core and then they'll take a break and then they'll come back and do
Yep.
another core. So
Yep.
ah, so probably what next year maybe.
Probably.
Okay,
There
man.
might be there might be some teasers toward the end of this year, but that's probably going to be where it's going to be.
I look
If they keep
forward.
it if they keep it on track, we have at least one show every winter to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, this is gonna be good. Ah, right. Ah, Solo Leveling, 5 out of 5, or what? 10 out of 5. Go watch it.
Yeah.
All right. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Shangri-La Frontier season 2.
I don't know if there's really a whole lot necessarily to talk about with this one at this point. Other,
I
other than what we said before.
I called it, kind of.
Mm.
We were gonna learn more about the pro gamers stuff.
Yeah, we did.
I was like, I want to know, and they're like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, honestly, that's about. See, here's the thing. I think when it comes to Shangri-La Frontier, you almost have to like wait a while in between when you talk about it because it's like, yes, there was things that happened, but yeah, again, they're lengthening it out. They're like,
it's
how many
like
episodes did we go on with just him fighting, so and so inside the new game or whatever? And I'm just like, and how many episodes has it been? And we've talked about him going after the new elite in Shangri-La Frontier,
hmm,
and we've seen him face another monster in Shangri-La Frontier, the electric blue whale dude
yeah,
thing. But that's it.
yeah.
And I'm like, see, here's the thing. It's almost like Konosuba. It's almost like Konosuba. I know we're going to progress. We're just gonna take a while to get there.
Yes.
So I'm
Um,
like, I really don't have necessarily anything to say about Shangri-La Frontier.
yeah, because
It's good, but it's like, what more can we say other than what we said last time?
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the stuff that we predicted hasn't happened yet. It's going to. It's
Yeah,
just it's just we're
we're
halfway
not there
there.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, still waiting. We'll get there.
We went on some side quests is basically what
Yeah.
we did. Um,
Well, we went on a side quest, and now we are going to get there.
yeah.
We're like in the process of, but it's like, this honestly, I'm gonna say this is almost DBZ levels that we're going on at this point.
It's eh, I guess it's like the new version of DBZ where you get to the person you're gonna fight. And like in DBZ, you
Mm-hmm.
get to the person you're gonna fight, and you're gonna do a warm up fight, and then you're gonna like you're all warmed up, and then you're gonna fight, and then you're gonna evolve, and then you're gonna fight, and then you're gonna end the fight.
Yep.
With
Yep.
with with Shangri-La Frontier, it's like you're in the area where the boss is. The boss is gonna watch you fight his minions, and then it's gonna watch you fight his lieutenant, and then eventually he'll step in.
Yeah.
And that may
Yeah.
take
You're not wrong.
yeah, and then that may take 26 episodes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the while you go on like 2 or 3 side quests during that time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's don't get me wrong. Anyone who's watching it, it's not bad by any means. It's just one of those where you're just like, can we get to the next part, please? I want to see it. I want to know. It's good. I just want to be able to actually see it.
Yeah, it's like the only reason that you would be less patient than normal is because the other shows that you're watching are like incredible fight, incredible fight, incredible fight, incredible fight. You're like, oh my god, this
Yeah.
is amazing. And then the Shangri-La Frontier is like, hey, we're hey, we're going on a quest. You're like, okay, cool. Hey, some other people who weren't supposed to be here all of a sudden are here now. You're like, ah, that's funny. You're like, and I'm gonna go on a I'm gonna go on vacation real quick. And then he goes, you're like, wait a minute, what about the octopus? Wasn't that important? And they're
Right.
like, yeah, 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 it is.
We'll get there. Don't worry. I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of animes this season are probably not looked as fondly upon just because solo leveling happened this season.
Oh yeah,
It kind of took the wind out of a lot of anime sales.
oh yeah, yeah. It's but hey, it's greatness is greatness.
It's
but
true.
but yeah, yeah. This show is a slow burn.
It is.
When it gets
But
hype, it
it's
gets hype.
it's got the potential, and
Oh yeah,
there are things there going on that are just outstanding. The lore is there. That like the you want to know things about what's going on,
hmm.
what the world is. So I mean, that's the reason why it hooks you.
Would you say that these episodes that aren't part of the main quest would be filler?
To an extent, yes, but I don't feel like it's complete filler because in the same way, like in DBZ, because like there are abilities and understandings and powers that are being gained in these filler type episodes that will be utilized later on in the main story parts.
Yeah, and it's like, and without that, either he would just have some power that came out of that he just pulled out of his
Yep,
ass,
yep.
or
Or an understanding that just you're like, is he like omniscient? Or I'm like,
yeah,
how did he understand that? How did he know that?
yeah. Um, so I would say what these are like the best possible fillers you could have.
Probably. Still doesn't make them any better when it comes to just being fillers, and you're just like, God damn it, get to the main point. Get back there. Which is why I look at it as Konosuba levels as far as that goes.
Yeah. Is Konosuba just all filler?
Probably. They do the main story by accident. Usually it's the reverse. Usually the side quests are the accident parts and the main story is
Yes.
what you follow.
Yes.
Konosuba's the side quests are the main part of it and the main story is the accidents.
Yeah. Uh, that's
I
funny.
get so damn annoyed about that damn thing.
But yeah. I was gonna say Konosuba. Shangri-La Frontier. It is still fun, and they're still trucking along.
We gonna be here for a while.
Yep. Alright. The next show and the last show we're going to be talking about is Zenshu.
So I have seen like little bits and pieces. Have you watched the whole thing?
Yes.
It looked like it went crazy.
It does. Um,
Because I mean, again, this is the same reason like soul leveling. I've been on internet and I see flashes or little snippets of parts and pieces and stuff like that, and like I don't know, maybe it looks like they from what you told me and from what I've seen on as far as that goes, like the people get upset with her or think she's the cause of the problem, so they try to get rid of her, which
100%.
yeah, okay. Which causes the main hero of our story to go absolutely insane berserk.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Um, so I will summarize it,
Mm.
and then I'll kind of go in. Like as far as the show, you is it one of them ones where you're like you don't really care to know?
Would you recommend it to me?
Um, I would say yes because of how the story is told.
Okay. Then yeah, I will definitely watch it.
Okay. So I will go into a like a as spoilerless as I can while loving on the show explanation. So the premise is there is a movie that I can't remember the name of the title for. Basically, like lots of misfortune is a synonym to the name of the title. Um,
Hmm.
and basically, in the movie, um, there are these void monsters, and there's 9 heroes. There's 8 different kingdoms, and each of the kingdom has their own little like spirit light that's at the center of each kingdom, and it's basically um, it's a symbol for hope, and it's I don't think it's really a power source. It's just it kind of wards off evil.
Hmm.
Where you enter this movie is um, many of the I'll say half of the heroes have died. So when I
Hmm.
was talking about are there other heroes? Yes, there were. And basically, yeah, half the heroes have died, and all of the heroes that are left are now at this last like all 8 of the 8 what is 7 of the 8 crystals have been destroyed, and they are all left at this last kingdom, like basically just fighting off the hordes. Um,
So basically, are the other kingdoms just annihilated and destroyed?
basically,
Okay.
because it's one of those things where it's like it's a beacon and it kind of protects from the void monsters, but once that beacon is gone, then there's no you
No
don't.
saving against the void monsters.
Yes. Um,
Okay.
and I think that's why just a guess. I think that's why they always send like a scout. Like they send one void monster to try to sneak in and break the crystal, and then the army will come.
Hmm.
Um, so what happens in the um, story is it's like a series of unfortunate events. Um, the hero ends up having a like a streak of bad luck, and then kind of goes insane, and then the world kind of just goes crazy. Um, it's like that one battle that she ends up saving everybody from.
Hmm.
The hero's best friend, the unicorn, is supposed to die, and then they have a funeral for him. And during that funeral, he meets this lady, and then he starts to like recover and from the loss of his friend and everything. And then another attack happens, and the lady saves a kid from a monster and ends up
Hmm.
dying, so that he ends up losing someone else. Um, and then another one of the heroes creates some kind of plot and ends up dying because of that plot. And then the hero basically has lost all of his friends, and
Sure.
the villagers are and everybody are still there like no it's fine like be happy hero like say like yeah you gotta save us but it's okay. And that's just not enough. He's lost everybody, like all of his friends, everybody who's he's ever cared for, and he ends up spiting the crystal, and then kind of things just go crazy from there.
Hmm.
Um, so where the main character of this story enters the story is basically she pops in right before the unicorn dies, and she stops that. Um, and then she makes a series of decisions that kind of like butterfly effect the story.
Hmm.
But basically, this show is Final Destination. Yes, you may have avoided death today, but it has been foretold that these series of events are going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and this story is how how far can she delay the inevitable, and will the inevitable actually happen?
Mm-hmm.
Um, anything else I say would spoil the
Sure.
story, but I would say it's a very good story. Towards the end, I didn't get really emotional, but it really tugged on my heartstrings because it's like people started getting desperate. It's um like the way some people acted in some of the scenes were like way more
Showing
intense, yeah, way more,
showing the uglier side,
yes,
showing the uglier side of
like
humanity.
way uglier than I was expecting for this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my god. So I would say, yeah, 100% 10 out of 10. Um, check it out. It's absolutely gorgeous. Mappa did an excellent job. Um, I love the fact that it is like they don't sugarcoat it. The
Mm-hmm.
movie, what is the movie called? Like I gotta find the name of the movie because it's like a series of of unfortunate events is a similar name, but uh, a tale of perishing. There we go. Yeah. So basically, it's like
Oh, nice.
yeah. So it's like it's basically like this is the movie where everybody dies, and it's like why do you want to watch that movie? um. So yeah, it does not sugarcoat.
Yeah.
It does not sugarcoat how sad it can be. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
it's for me. It's for me. I'm always on that. I always have hope. So like, yes, I know what happens in Romeo and Juliet, but they made an anime called Romeo and Juliet, and I'm like, ooh, what's gonna happen? And they got flying horses and stuff. And I'm like, this is great. And then it got sad, and then I'm like, duh, dummy. so, so this show is being
You
blunt. It's,
know, it's funny too that when you go to anime chart, any chart on the actual anime,
mhm,
there's tags for it, and sometimes there is spoiler tags that they hide.
mhm.
You know, one of it has one spoiler tag. Do you want to know what it is?
Sure.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
That's the spoiler tag for it. Like, well,
Yeah.
that's apt, sure.
um. So yeah, it's a very good show. Um, I would say now that I'm over the now that I've finished it, I'm like, would I watch that again? Um, given time, yeah, because it's a really good show. Um, and I recommend it. I wouldn't. It isn't like heartbreakingly sad like that one with the twin idol children where the fan
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like that one broke my heart, and I don't think I'd ever go. I don't know when I can go back to that one. Like I'm probably halfway recovered, so I probably need like a
Oh, that reminds me. That I'm the same way with myself, yourself.
yeah, yeah.
I still won't go back to that one. I
And it's
still
like
won't go back to that one.
yeah, and it's like with the other one, it's like I see trailers for it, and they're like season 3, and I'm like, I'm sorry, episode 1 ruined me.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be like an Elvin lead where it's like one day I'll finally get over it and like continue. But um,
Good luck.
yeah, for this show, it didn't break my heart like that other one did. So
Hmm.
I feel safe about recommending it because it's a very good show.
Gotcha.
So, oh man. All right. Well, that is all we have for episode 99. Whew. We will be back next month for initial thoughts on the spring season. So
Yep.
that's going to be interesting.
That it will.
Yeah. As always, this is DK from TacoYaki. DK and Shade from TacoYaki Anime. As always, I thank y'all for watching. Thanks for hanging out in chat. Thanks for supporting the channel in any way that you do. And